Exactly 1 year ago today, folks, the Donald Trump 2.0 nightmare began. And today, his rambling 2.5 hour year in review left everyone shaking their heads, going, how in the hell did we get here? And will we survive this for 3 more years? Mary Trump Live starts now. Good evening, everybody. I'm Tara Setmayer. I'm in for the lovely Mary Trump, who will be back this week. Don't worry. She's just traveling. She's got some commitments and some speeches and things to do over the next couple of weeks, so she'll be in and out. But that means I get to hang out with you lovely folks for the Mary Trump Live Hour. And there's a lot to talk about today. Is it Tuesday? I don't know. I don't know what day it is. Ever since Trump came back into office, it all seems to just blend into one long, unending, nightmarish day because we can't have nice things anymore once Donald Trump is president because everything he touches dies. And here we are. Well, guys, I don't know if you saw. Hopefully, you have lives that are a little bit more fulfilling than those of us who have to deal with this every day. And you did not watch that Unhinged 2.5 hour grievance fest, but we watch it so you don't have to. And then you come here for us to talk about it together. Donald Trump spent 2.5 hours this afternoon struggling. I mean, the first 95% of it, I swear to God, I thought he was going to fall asleep at the podium. I'm like, what is going on? He was low energy. He was just couldn't like find his place. He got lost. He's unwell. I mean, I think we've seen this play out over the last year that he's clearly unwell. But when we see him in long form like that, it really, you can really see that this is not the same guy from a couple years ago. It's pretty remarkable. Like when you see the mainstream media play clips from 1.0 to now, he's fallen quite far down. He's showing every bit of his age. No doubt about it. I don't know if you guys read the Daily Beast, but the Daily Beast, which is what I think a lot of outlets should do, the Daily Beast, every headline they mention Donald Trump, they say Donald Trump, comma 79. President Trump, comma 79. Like it's kind of funny to constantly needle him about this, but he's really showing his age. And this presser today uh, doesn't instill confidence in anyone, including the markets. Not sure if you guys saw, but there was a considerable dip in the markets. I think it was like 2% because the world is watching this man unravel in front of everyone and behave like a mad king. Honestly, like everyone is going, what the fuck is happening here? And this obsession over Greenland and his behavior, it's really, I mean, it's concerning. It's concerning. We saw it in the first iteration of this guy, but this time there's no adults, there's no guardrails, and he's saber rattling about Greenland now, and people, including world leaders and the markets, are preparing for life without the United States being a world leader, and that should scare the shit out of everyone, frankly. But it should also send a message to Democrats in Congress and to every elected official that they better do something to rein this freaking guy in, or no one is safe, even his most loyal supporters. The most loyal people in the Congress, the people who have been bootlickers for him for years, the Senator Tom Tillises of the world, who, running for reelection, still said that if Trump invades Greenland, if he uses kinetic force, which means active military force, to take Greenland, that is still not impeachable. Okay. Just substitute Donald Trump and put in Joe Biden or Barack Obama. If either one of those presidents had done anything like this concerning Greenland, they'd be out on their ass and they would deserve to be. So these coward hypocrites in Congress, I cannot. But world leaders are gathering in Davos right now at the World Economic Forum. And the conversations, I would love to be a fly on the wall in Davos this week to just listen to the happy hour conversations, the 2 martini lunch conversations with the world's economic elite and world leaders about how they feel Donald Trump is behaving and what's going on with the United States right now. I would love to be a fly on the wall. A Danish representative at Davos today basically told Donald Trump to go fuck off. In Davos. I think that was Davos. I saw the clip before we came in live. I think it was Davos. Like, the Danish are like, "Cut this out. What are you doing? What are you doing? Are we really going to go into kinetic activity against a NATO ally?" It's crazy. It's crazy. This 2.5 hours was so unhinged. And I say more of it. Let Donald Trump go out there and ramble on like an unhinged mad king for all of the American people to see completely unvarnished. They should see it because that's their president. That's the guy they voted for. Make Republicans answer for it. Not only was he bitching and complaining for this 2.5 hours, he took questions at the end. He came a little alive at the end. I guess, like, I don't know, whatever kicked in toward the end there. But for most of it, before he took questions, it was just a low energy, blah, 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 blah. Like, oh my gosh, somebody get grandpa a nap and someone, ensure. I think his blood sugar is low. Okay. We're going to play for you a moment or two because, of course, he lied through the whole thing. I mean, Daniel Dale, who's the fact checker for CNN, he came on after and was just kind of like, I don't even know where to start. There were so many. They're like, "So Daniel, what would you like to fact check?" He's like, "There's so much, I don't even know where to start." But here's one thing he lied about, which he cannot get over, which he has become once again unhinged and unhealthily obsessed over: the 2020 election, claiming that, oh no, he won 2020. It was rigged. It was stolen. It was da da da. Take a listen.
All allowed in here by an open border policy of the worst president in the history of our country. A man that didn't win the election, by the way, it was a rigged election. Everybody knows that now. And by the way, numbers are coming out that show it even more plainly. We caught him. We caught him. So I just want you to know that it's a terrible thing. Here's the book on accomplishments. And this is something, I'm glad my finger wasn't in that sucker. That could have done some damage, but you know what? I wouldn't have shown the pain. I would have gone back. Boy, did you hear that? That was nasty. But I would not have shown the pain. I would have acted like nothing happened as my finger fell off. That was nasty. I think somebody did that. I think it was him. It was my man. How were you? You didn't do it. I know you did. I know you didn't. So, but here is the...
What? Okay, first of all, once again, I don't know what's happening with the makeup. It looks absurd. He's a particular weird shoe polish shit color, again, shellacked on his face. There's that. But the whole thing about, oh my gosh, my finger. And if it had gotten caught, I wouldn't have shown the pain because I'm such a tough guy. Yeah, okay. Tough guys don't have to tell you they're tough guys, and they don't go on and on about, I wouldn't have shown any pain if I had gotten my finger caught. And like, what? This is the president of the United States. Oh my God. What do we say? Like, what do we even say about this? What do we even say about this? And you know what? The more that he acts like this, and the more um like acting like a lunatic and just like an unwell, emotionally stunted child, the more world leaders are beginning to stand up to him. Not enough of them yet, but some of them are. Like I said earlier, the guy from Denmark told him to fuck off. I mean, could you imagine that a year ago, 2 years ago, the first time around? No. No. Now, he also spent yesterday, I think it was yesterday, or this morning, he posted DM messages allegedly from Emmanuel Macron from France and the head of NATO about praising him and saying, "Oh, we can work together." But at least Emmanuel Macron was like, "I don't understand what you're doing here with Greenland, but let's talk about some other things and have dinner while you're in Europe." Why are you posting world leader DMs? Just so you can see, like, "Oh, people see they still like me. They still like me." I mean, this it's sick. It's so sick. It's so dysfunctional. He's a pathological, malignant narcissist, and it's all playing out in front of us right now. Unfortunately, he has the power of the military and the power of the presidency. I don't know what's gonna take it to rein him in. I really don't. He talked about more. He talked about more. Oh, before we go on to the jobs part, so he brings up this whole thing, this tangent about the elections being rigged and all that again. So later when it comes to the Q&A part, we do understand that the White House press corps is now infiltrated by a bunch of wacko right-wing extremists. Okay? These propaganda news organizations like Lindell TV. Lindell TV, the pillow guy, Mike Lindell, started a network that is batshit crazy. And all of those wacko conspiracy theories from 2020, remember like the Hugo Chavez, Sidney Powell, Italian satellites, and Dominion and all that? Like Fox News got sued for almost $800 million because of the defamation and false accusations against Dominion voting systems. A lot of that originated from Mike Lindell and his Lindell TV network. Well, it's still a thing apparently, and now they have press credentials to cover the president of the United States in the White House. And some woman from there asked him again about this, about the Venezuela connection to the rigged elections in 2020. Like, how are we back here? How are we back here? We're on like this doom loop from 2020. Oh my God. I was like, wait, what? What year is it? I don't know what day it is, but I'm sorry, but but what year is this? No, it's 2026, folks. And we're still talking about Venezuela, Dominion voting systems, rigged elections, and how Donald Trump won in 2020. I mean, for God's sakes. And he's also still blaming Joe Biden for all of his problems. Says that we inherited the worst economy in history or whatever nonsense. That's not true, as we all know. Inflation was about 3%, and it's around 3% now. So that's not true. Actually, inflation ballooned up to over 9% under Joe Biden as a byproduct of Donald Trump messing up the pandemic response and quantitative easing and flooding all kinds of cash into the economy to make up for the losses with COVID and just how they did all that. So by 2020, I think it was 2021 or June of 2022, where inflation jumped up to like over 9%. And it was Joe Biden's administration that got that down from over 9% down to about 2.4, I think 2.5% in October of 2024. But no one knew that because unfortunately the Democrats were terrible at messaging and the American people had no idea. So yeah, Donald Trump, fact check, did not inherit the worst economy in history. That is a lie. But here you go. He's bragging about causing lots of people, lots of Americans to lose their jobs. Take a listen.
So we cut. Now, if you want to see some good numbers, I'll hire 1 million people. We cut millions of people off the federal payroll. I don't like doing that, but the good news, I don't feel badly because they're getting private sector jobs and they're getting sometimes twice as much money, 3 times as much money. They're getting factory jobs. They're getting much better jobs and much higher pay.
Okay. Again, not true. Manufacturing jobs are down. We are down hundreds of thousands of jobs compared to a year ago. Okay. Those numbers, what he just said, none of that was true. Complete fabrication. What's true is that, yes, Doge came in a year ago. Elon came in with the freaking chainsaw. Remember that? And Doge and Big Balls and the 19-year-old incels that work for him came in and ravaged our federal agencies in a hostile takeover and basically mass fired tens of thousands of government workers, career people, people who have had institutional knowledge in our sciences, in healthcare, in Veterans Affairs. I mean, it feels like Doge was 10 years ago. It was only a year ago. They literally were busting down doors and people were barricaded. The Institute of Peace was an NGO. They were barricading the doors to stop Doge from coming in, and they were escorted in by police. I mean, we forget about this. It was insane a year ago, the scenes here in Washington, D.C. And all of these people, Donald Trump bragging about firing federal workers. I mean, the Department of Education has been hollowed out. If your kid is special needs or is in the IEP program, well, good luck with that because they completely defunded it. How is this making America great? I'm sorry, it's not. We have wacko RFK Jr. over here killing people, changing the vaccine schedules for children. People aren't getting vaccinated for things like measles and whooping cough and all kinds of things that are spreading because of RFK Jr. and his freaking brainworm. Science isn't guiding any of these policies anymore. We had the best healthcare system in the world, the best scientists in the world. And what happened? Well, we can argue about the healthcare system. Don't at me on that. But you know what I mean. We have the best scientists, research laboratories, all that. We were the envy of the world. People would come here to study and develop vaccines and medications and medical technology. That's not great now. So Donald Trump bragging about people losing jobs, which is just so surreal on so many levels. Our federal government is reeling from this lack of knowledge. You have a bunch of these Doge fucks that are still embedded in a lot of places. As a matter of fact, it got a little lost today, but some Doge members from the Social Security Administration have been referred to, I guess, the Department of Justice. I don't know what the hell they're going to do, but for violating the Hatch Act. What's the Hatch Act? That's basically very toothless nowadays. Nobody ever enforces it. But if you are a federal worker, you are not allowed to engage in political activity. I mean, that's laughable. It was laughable under Trump 1.0. Now it's completely toothless, but apparently this was egregious enough that they were referred, these two Doge guys that are inside the Social Security Administration, because they were working with some right-wing organization and passing off our private information, Social Security numbers and things like that, and also sharing information on an unclassified server. Great. Nobody saw that coming. Nobody saw that coming. That's just the people who are getting caught. I'm sure there was some career person that kept their head down inside the SSA to be able to finally be like, keep an eye on what's going on. You got some courageous people inside of our federal government that were just trying to keep their heads down so they can keep the train on the tracks at least. But yeah, that's another story out today. I was like, that's great. On top of all the surveillance state stuff, Peter Thiel and Palantir and all of these things, Elon just having access to all kinds of stuff. He just his Grok chatbot now merging with Google and their government contract with the Pentagon. Oh yeah, that's great. That doesn't scare the shit out of me. I'm not worried about that. What? It's just again, it's a lot. Folks, it is a lot. ICE, immigration. Donald Trump is underwater. He is collapsing. His support is collapsing among independents. They are like, what is happening? This absolute horrific militarization of Minnesota and the recent tragic murder of Renee Good. All of this, yeah, not great. Not sure how this is making America great. So that comes up. The ICE stuff, Minnesota, all that comes up. And he just is completely lying about what's going on there. So God bless all of the citizen activists that are out there filming and recording and risking their lives literally at this point to do it. So thank God, because we can now see with our own eyes, not through the lens of the administration lying about stuff. But they're still doing it. They're still like North Korean style propaganda telling us, no, 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 this is what's happening. Now, don't believe your lying eyes. Don't believe it. 1984 Orwell. No, no. But here we go. Talking about the ICE occupation of Minnesota. Take a listen.
I don't think the real people of Minnesota, it's a very corrupt place, and the elections are totally corrupt. I feel I won it all 3 times. Nobody's won that state since Richard Nixon. It's a rigged state. And the Somalians vote as one group, even if they're not citizens, and they vote as one group, and you get 600,000 votes against you. They all ought to get the hell out of here. They're bad for our country.
Again, every time he loses, or no, 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 oh no, it's rigged. It's rigged. How could I possibly have lost? You lost. Okay, you lost Minnesota, and yet here he is trying to distract. It's just a retribution. It's just a retribution operation there, because he's mad that he lost Minnesota. He doesn't like Tim Walz, and the Somalis are of color, so he doesn't like them. So easy targets. Let's go target all the Somalis. But last time I checked, a lot of the videos that we were watching were of innocent people, people who are American citizens or people who have green cards being ripped out of their cars, their houses broken into, being tear gassed. Minnesota local police there in Minneapolis talked about one of their own officers who is a resident, a U.S. citizen who was harassed by ICE and her phone was knocked out of her hand. She's an American citizen and a local police officer. Out of control. They pulled some poor elderly guy out of the shower in the dead of winter there. He's like in his boxers with a blanket over him in the middle of the icy, cold Minnesota. They ended up letting him go. He was a permanent resident. He was here legally. Oh, whoops, mistaken identity. These people are out of control. Completely out of control. And Trump's just like, yeah. And all their administration lackeys are out there. Oh no, this is perfectly normal. Greg Little Peen Bovino, Mr. Little Guy that's gonna be surrounded by his goons to go to the bathroom in Target or to walk down the street. Like he's Mr. Tough Guy, Greg Bovino, the head of the Border Patrol. This guy. He was out there, did a press conference today. They're talking about how they arrested a guy who was a child molester. And this one, he was walking free. They picked like 3 people who actually had criminal records. Okay, that's great. Thank you very much for taking them off the street. Do you need to have 3,000 agents terrorizing communities to do that? You know where these people are. You go get the criminals. Is that where... what about the people at the Mexican restaurant where your agents went and ate, and then you go back and you arrest the poor dishwasher? What? I'm sorry. Are those these horrible criminals? Like, get the hell out of here. I just cannot. Don't try to sit there and tell us that because you arrested a couple of bad people that shouldn't be here, that it warrants what you're doing in Minneapolis. Cut the shit. Okay? Honestly. Stop it. And this whole thing about the Somali community and the fraud with the child care centers and this massive welfare fraud going on. How come they're not in Mississippi? There's massive welfare fraud going on down there in Mississippi, who has voted for Donald Trump multiple times. How come you're not down there? Or why are you pardoning dozens upon dozens of criminals who've committed fraud? One person in the latest batch of pardons was a bank robber, for fuck's sake. So, stop it. Stop it. All of this is a deflection from his own criminality, from his own fraud going on inside his own administration, his own family. And, all of it. Even the whole, obsession over pedophiles. Excuse me, your name is in the Epstein files. Talking about pedophilia. So what are we all just supposed to be like, oh, that's okay, that's fine. Oh, yeah, because you got a couple of them off the street. All of this was necessary? Get the hell out of here. Now, if you weren't already annoyed, your blood pressure wasn't already up, there's more from this 2.5 hour rambling mess today from Donald J. Trump. He actually has the audacity to talk about Renee Good. But of course, he manages to find some way to make it about himself. Listen to this.
But when she was shot, there was another woman that was screaming shame, 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 right? You saw it. So loud. Like a professional opera singer. She was so loud and so professional. She wasn't a woman that was hurt, like, oh, my heart's injured. She was a professional. She's shame, shame. She's screaming shame, shame. I said, that's not a normal person. That's a professional. These are professional agitators and professional people that want to see our country do badly.
Okay. First of all, there's absolutely nothing against the law for being a professional agitator, if that's what you want to be. And they purposely use the term agitator because there's certain connotations in history about that. That goes back to slave days, by the way. But if you want to be a professional protester, let's use that. And go out there and yell shame at these guys, these masked Gestapo fascists that are terrorizing American cities. You have the constitutional right to do it. Donald Trump, too effing bad if you don't like it. So that's number one. Number two, I'm so glad that that woman was yelling shame, and that will forever be memorialized on those videos of her doing that after that bastard shot and killed Renee Good, whose last words were, "I'm not even mad at you, bro." His words on that tape were, "fucking bitch." And Donald Trump is more concerned about a protester yelling shame. I mean, what is it? You got to be kidding me. That's what he's worrying about? He also talked about how, well, before I get to her father, he also, there's a reason why this administration is trying to say that anyone who films, which is your constitutional right to do, by the way, if they're on public property, and as long as you're not impeding their operation, you can film law enforcement. But they're trying to say that that is domestic terrorism. No, it isn't. Okay. That woman and those people who are out there warning communities that ICE is coming, or following them to make sure they're not kidnapping people, or to make sure that when they snatch people, like they did that poor 17-year-old kid at a Target, that they call his mom so that they know where their kid is. By the way, that kid is an American citizen, and they dumped him down the road 8 minutes later after they roughed him up. I don't know if you guys saw that video. It's heartbreaking. The poor kid. One of many tragic cases like this. Talk about civil rights violations. My God. But they're allowed to do that. But this administration is trying to say that that's domestic terrorism because they want an excuse to arrest people. It's not domestic terrorism, okay? And frankly, this administration doesn't get to decide what domestic terrorism is. That's an act of Congress, which actually there really is no laws in the books about domestic terrorism. That's a whole other conversation. But domestic terrorism, it's to have a chilling effect. It is to, and no pun intended, in Minneapolis. It's freezing. But yet you still see people out there in the streets day in and day out standing up to this. I applaud them, man. Those are so those who are just joining or have never seen me before, this is the first time. Hi, I'm Tara Setmayer. I am the CEO of the Seneca Project and co-founder. I also have a TED Talk out. And my TEDx talk, I talk about moral first responders. And I challenge people, are you going to stand up or stand by in this moment now? Is moral and civic courage the revolution that we need? That is the title of my TED Talk. And I talk about people like the good citizens of Minneapolis that are out there right now. I call them moral first responders. That is exactly what we need. We need more of this. We saw folks coming out 2 weekends ago to protest ICE on a whim after Renee Good's murder. I was one of them in the freezing cold, not compared to Minneapolis, but we saw people all across the country in a matter of 2 days in very large numbers from New York City to Alaska to, a town near you. These are moral first responders. We need moral and civic courage if we're going to push back against this. And I was encouraged by seeing that. It's a shame that tragedy is what brings us together, but that gives me hope that in 2026, we're going to be able to do that and vote these bastards out and at least have some hope of saving this democracy from Donald Trump's absolutely unleashed, unvarnished power between now and 3 more years from now. Because the American people are pretty freaking pissed off, as they should be, as they absolutely should be. And when they see things like this and they see the way this administration just lies and how they just besmirch this poor woman, this mother of 3 kids who are now, orphaned, I think it does something, it does something. Because she could be any one of us. Unfortunately, it's different when it's someone of color. For the sad reality of the racial dynamics in this country. But when you see a blonde white woman who looks like your neighbor, your sister, your daughter, even the MAGAs have to be like, well, So Renee Good, she's she I think is going to be something that an inflection point here in this country because it shakes people. You go, oh wait, whoa, that's someone who looks like me, right? Well, my organization, the Seneca Project, Mary is very, very supportive of. We put out a video called Good versus Evil because at this point, you need to decide which side you're on here with this. And it was inspired by what's going on in Minneapolis. But before we play that, I want you to hear one last thing that Donald Trump said about Renee Good. And then I'll show you what the Seneca Project has put out. This is him talking about Renee Good's father.
I felt horribly when I was told that the young woman who was had the tragedy. It's a tragedy. It's a horrible thing. Everybody would say. ICE would say the same thing. But when I learned her parents and her father in particular I hope he still is, but I don't know, was a tremendous Trump fan. He was all for Trump, loved Trump, and it's terrible. I was told that by a lot of people. They said, "Oh, he loves you. He was a." I hope he still feels that way. I don't know. It's hard situation. But her father was a tremendous, and parents were tremendous Trump fans. It's so sad. It just happens. It's terrible.
What did Mary say? She calls him a walking black hole, an emotional black hole. I've never seen anything like this. Have we ever seen anything like this? It's bad enough that he is a deplorable, despicable human being, but the fact that he occupies the Oval Office and that he just sullies that office every single day is so hard to reconcile. I swear to God. Like, what the hell were 70 million, whatever, 78 million Americans thinking? It's just this woman was killed in cold blood in broad daylight, and he's expressing empathy for her father because he was told that her father was a Trump supporter. I don't even know if that's true or where we got that from, but who freaking cares? That's your response? This guy is a soulless ghoul, a sociopath. And it's just, I don't know. I don't know what to say. He felt bad, but the father, he was a Trump fan. He makes it about him. He's so emotionally needy. Honestly, he needs to be in intensive childhood trauma therapy to work it out, not standing at the podium in the White House, leading the free world, for fuck's sake. So that leads me to our Seneca Project video that's out right now, Good versus Evil. Which side are you on? Take a look. Happy to play it for you guys.
You can hear the man screaming, Ayuda, help me, during the struggle.
ICE agents dragged this pregnant woman across the street.
Are we really going to be the Gestapo? Where's your papers? Is that what we've come to?
I know right here.
To all ICE officers, you have federal immunity in the conduct of your duties.
I'm literally a U.S. citizen.
That's fine, dude. I'm not mad at you.
Get out of the fucking car.
No!
The precedent here is very simple.
What the fuck did you do? You are a fucking criminal!
That guy is protected by absolute immunity.
We will find you. You will never return.
They're fucking up this community.
To ICE, get the fuck out of Minneapolis.
I think Mayor Fry speaks for all of us. It's the first time we've ever had to put a content warning on one of our videos, but it's a reality. That's what the poor folks in Minneapolis are suffering through every single day. And Chicago and Los Angeles and wherever else Donald Trump decides to send his goon squad of Gestapo wannabes and their power. God knows who's behind those masks. Oath keepers, Proud Boys, I don't know, sex offenders, domestic abusers. I'm sure you guys saw the stories that ICE recruitment, they're trying to fill all these slots. They're just basically letting anybody in. They're not doing background checks. They're shortening their training down to 47 days because that's the 47th president. I mean, what is this? You're empowering people with a badge and a gun that could take a life under the color of law and giving them 47 freaking days of training to pay homage to the 47th president. Jesus, no wonder they're killing people. And there's no such thing as total and complete immunity. No such thing, folks. That doesn't exist. They have qualified immunity, very different. Total and complete immunity, not a thing. Not a thing. So shout out to Atlas Creative, our wonderful new editors that we're working with out in LA who helped collaborate with us on that and put that together. We're working with them on another video coming out to mark the year of Donald Trump that we're living in, but we're fighting back in 2026. It's going to be called Let Freedom Win. That's going to be out in the next day or so. So stay on the lookout for that. If you guys are interested in more Seneca Project stuff, please make sure you follow us at Seneca Project US. We're on all the socials, and our website is senecaproject.us. We are a super PAC, so we are run solely on the generosity of the American people. So if you like what we do, you want to see more, please, if you're able to, support us financially. If not, please like, share, and subscribe to all of our content to help spread the word, because people need to see it. It's our job to push back on this narrative. And we are a women-led organization. We're very small. We're small but mighty. And, it's hard. It's very difficult for women-led organizations to get funding, which is another whole conversation. But we still persevere, and we keep marching, and we do the work. Because if not us, then who? And if not now, then when? And a big thank you to Mary, who's on our advisory board and has supported us, and we're grateful to her. So that's that for Seneca Project. Now, Donald Trump also talked about, calling the folks insurrectionists. He bragged about how he likes the Hells Angels. He also talked the Hells Angels. What is this, the 1970s? This guy's caught in a time loop. Oh yeah, I like the Hells Angels. What? Shut up. Oh my God. But then he also talked about how he has all this Hispanic support. Well, not so much. I don't know if his people are telling him about, again, the collapse in support among Latino voters for him, particularly in places like Texas. Oh, I wonder why. I wonder why. Now, the Hispanic vote helped put Donald Trump back in the White House. And the irony of that and what's happening now is, you can't miss that. We warned you. He said he was going to do mass deportations. The cognitive dissonance in the Hispanic community still voting for Donald Trump, despite what Stephen Miller and all those people around were telling them they were going to do to immigrants in this country. I don't know. As my husband's family from the South says, a hard head makes a soft behind. And unfortunately now, the Latino community in this country is being ravaged and attacked and terrorized thanks to Donald Trump and thanks to a lot of them who put him back in the White House. It is a case study in cognitive dissonance on steroids. But here we are. But that lack of support that support that he's losing in places like Texas, that puts the Senate and other districts in play. So if Democrats don't mess this up, they have an opportunity to take the House back for sure. And the Senate is in play. It is in play. But it's going to take a lot of work. It is only January. There's a lot of time between now and November for them to mess it up. But I'm encouraged. Like Jasmine Crockett down there in Texas, she's a fighter. That's what people need. She's in a tough primary with James Tallarico there. But that's just one example. You have Mary Peltola now in Alaska. Candidate recruitment is so important. She is an excellent, excellent Senate candidate up there in Alaska. That's a potential pickup. So we need to keep hammering this. We need to keep an emphasis on this. That's why what we do at the Seneca Project, putting out content and videos and messaging to keep this in the face of the American people, because defense may win championships, but offense wins elections. And so that's why we do what we do. That's why independent media, like what Mary is doing and others, is so, so, so important. Now, a couple other things real quick before I'm going to take some of your questions, but I don't know if you guys saw that Donald Trump has this Board of Peace thing that he's doing. And this whole thing with Greenland, his obsession with Greenland, partially because he didn't get the Nobel Peace Prize, but Greenland is a territory of Denmark, not Norway. And last time I checked, I had to double check to make sure I wasn't crazy, but the Nobel Prize comes from a Norwegian entity, right? The Nobel Prize is Norway, not Denmark. So this dumb fuck, what did he mix the two up? I guess. And then poor Karina Machado, who won the Nobel Peace Prize, beat him out. She goes hat in hand with her Nobel Prize and gives it to Donald Trump as a token, because you got to bring something to him. You got to bring the little kid candy so you can, so he doesn't throw his shit on the walls. I mean, really? How embarrassing. How embarrassing. Pathetic. Ridiculous. And it's never good enough, which is the thing. All these people debase themselves like this. And to what end? It's never going to be good enough for this guy. Have they not learned? Have they not learned? It's just foolish. I just don't, but whatever, that's on her. So now we all have to pay the price because Donald Trump's throwing a temper tantrum about not winning the Nobel Peace Prize. And he writes this insane letter, which I had to check to see if it was real yesterday, but no, it was real. And then he's now in Davos this week. He's talking about setting up this peace board. And all this is another form of corruption. You have to pay like $1 billion from these countries to be on this peace board, and it's supposed to be to supervise the rebuilding of Gaza. We all know that this whole thing with Gaza, even Venezuela, even Greenland, there's always somewhere where Donald Trump's going to make a buck, or his family or his big donors have a financial interest. Google Ron Lauder of Estee Lauder. Yes, makeup, Estee Lauder. Ron Lauder has humongous financial interests in Greenland. He was one of the first people to plant the seed in Donald Trump's brain about taking Greenland back in 2018. And that goes along with what Putin wants, because he knows that if Donald Trump does that, that gives him entree to go after Eastern European countries. And that will be the demise of NATO. And then that sends a signal to China to go after Taiwan. That's why what's happening in Greenland is actually really important. And it matters to us here in the U.S. Should our sons and daughters, our friends and neighbors who are serving in the military die or lose their limb in Greenland fighting a freaking NATO ally? I don't think so. It's bullshit. Or in Venezuela, so that Paul Singer, Google him, another major Trump donor who used to be a never Trumper, and then, money talks and he decided to sell out. One of his companies just got Citgo, the Venezuelan gas company, oil company. He benefits greatly from what's happening in Venezuela. And then, of course, the tech bros, they're obsessed with Greenland. They want to turn it into some like network state utopia up there, just like what happened off the coast of Honduras, where they had this weirdo for-profit network state city. There's like all these layers. So Donald Trump is just everything he does. There is some form of grift or fraud or corruption that's beyond the surface. We've got to stop treating what he's doing as some type of geopolitical strategy. It's not. It's not. And the sooner the mainstream media and others recognize that, the sooner they can combat what's going on and treat it as such. Like, stop treating this as some like normal diplomatic move. Like, it's not. Just follow the money. And this board of peace bullshit is the same. According to Bloomberg, Donald he's going to serve as the inaugural chairman, because of course he is. And while members will vote on the decisions of this thing, the results will all require the chairman's approval. So again, these people are just figureheads. On top of that, then, nations will have to contribute over $1 billion to this board for, quote, permanent membership. It's a payoff. It's just like private companies giving money to the ballroom. It's a bribe. Now, of course, rightfully so, critics are worried that this thing is going to just undermine the United Nations. What do you need the United Nations for anymore? Now, of course, a reporter asked him, well, are you concerned about this? And this is what Donald Trump said.
Do you want your Board of Peace to replace the UN?
Well, it might. I mean, the UN just hasn't been very helpful. I'm a big fan of the UN potential, but it has never lived up to its potential. The UN should have settled every one of the wars that I settled. I never went to them. I never even thought to go to them. They should be able to settle those wars. They don't. I believe you got to let the UN continue because the potential is so great.
Of course he wants to undermine the UN. I mean, you can have an intellectual conversation about the UN and its efficacy or whatever, but not like this, okay? This is all another freaking grift with a capital G. Now, Emmanuel Macron already said, yeah, not doing that. Sorry, Donald, not doing that. Maybe they can talk more about it when they have dinner in Paris this week, I guess. I don't know. But Macron, at least he's trying to manage Trump. I mean, I think because he's dealt with him for so long, he kind of gets the right idea. But the Board of Peace, that Donald Trump, the Institute of Peace, the NGO that was created during the Reagan administration, he put his name on that too. They just had a conference like a month and a half ago at the Institute of Peace, which again was taken over by Doge illegally, but a judge actually let them in. Well, it's a shame. And now he's corrupted that and put his freaking name, the Donald J. Trump Institute of Peace. What a contradiction. He already has this. But now you got to pay to play, like a mafia don in his own mind. Guess who else he invited on this? Vladimir Putin. Putin has been invited to join the Board of Peace. The guy's a fucking war criminal. Okay? He's one of the most brutal dictators in the world. He's a war criminal. He's in an active war with Ukraine right now, a European country. And why don't you come and join the Board of Peace? That's as bad as when Iran was on the Human Rights Committee at the UN. Like, really? Or Saudi Arabia. Okay. That's got credibility. Let me tell you. I don't know, guys. It's crazy. It's just crazy. But we have to pay attention. Keep paying attention. Keep paying attention. Our Canadian allies, the UK, our European allies, they're all banding together and making contingency plans in case Donald Trump moves forward with this insanity, which is just things I don't think anybody ever thought. And Republicans in Congress are still with their tails between their legs publicly. They're bitching and complaining about it privately, but almost none of them have come forward publicly because they're too damn afraid. And that kind of cowardice is going to not only cost them their reelections in a lot of instances, I think, but it could cost our country because they were cowards. But we're not. That's why we're all here. And that's why we're all doing this, because we are not going to back down and we're not going to let them intimidate us. It's up to us, guys. It is up to us. All right. I'm going to take a couple of your questions and comments right now because I promised I would before we go on. I have another live event with my friend JoJo over at the Siren to do a year in review. So let's see. I put my glasses on so I can read it. I watched it live on ABC. Trump and his enablers need to be impeached, removed from office, and put in prison. Trump wants to start World War III. He's pissing off all of our allies. Canada is pissed. That's from Scorpion Sam. You are 100% right. And Canada has a really good leader up there now. He's Oxford, I believe, educated. He understands economics. And they're preparing their trade agreements with other folks. I mean, Canada? The nicest people on the planet, for God's sakes. What are we doing? They're like our sisters, our neighbors. What are we doing? Hi. Next, Susan Thompson. Hi, Susan. Denmark to Donald Trump. Fuck off. Yeah, thank you, sir. Made my day. Filling up the Joe Colorado swear jar. Yes. I mean, listen, I'm from Jersey, so that swear jar could probably put a kid through college if it applied to me. But it's scientific that cursing is good for you. Science says so. This is in the middle of nowhere. 13. Love to see you, Tara. You are so articulate versus Donald Trump. What an a-hole. I'm embarrassed to call myself an American. Well, thank you very much. I appreciate that. Unfortunately, the bar is set pretty low when it comes to Donald Trump. He can't put a sentence together, that guy. But thank you very much. I appreciate that. And believe me, when I went overseas, I wore a Canada hat. True story. There's a picture on my Instagram of it. Joseph. Okay. There is no more media allowed in the White House that has a modicum of integrity. Only the craziest kooks and sycophants. That's true. Mostly the Pentagon now. The Pentagon kicked all the real journalists out. There's still some mainstream in the White House press corps, but the Pentagon for sure. And that was an example of where the mainstream media banded together and said, we're not going to sign some kind of an agreement that says that we have to be censored pretty much in order to report. So that was like a good thing that they did, at least. Okay, let's throw up one more. The Intercept recently wrote about a key secret Pentagon secure communication system compromised by Doge cuts. Yes, that is correct. And that is what we know of. Okay, imagine what's not being reported. There is no way that more systems aren't being hacked. The IRS, again, the Social Security Administration. Scary to think that the Pentagon system has been compromised. Good God. God only knows. So why is anybody surprised? This is exactly what Elon wanted, and he got it. Where's the accountability? Where is the accountability? That's why 2026 is so important. We have to take Congress back to start the accountability. It's going to take some time. It will not be immediate, but we have to start somewhere. We have to. Otherwise, we're doomed for sure. So we got to start somewhere. And that's in 2026. Of course, speaking up now. That doesn't mean you wait until November. We start right now. Yesterday. Okay? Because that's what we've got to do. All right. Well, before we go, because I think As always, the emotional support moment is important for all of us to recenter, bring our blood pressure back down together as a community. This week's emotional support moment is it's water. It's soothing. I love this. As a Jersey girl who spends her summers down the shore, which is my happy place, the sound of the ocean. My husband's the same way. We love the sound of the ocean. It is the most tranquil, calm sound, or raindrops, or a nice stream. So before we let you go tonight, here is a nice, quiet, soothing moment with a stream where we can reset, we can breathe, and ease out of the nose for a relaxing and good evening. See you guys next time. Mary will be back on Thursday, I think. Thank you, guys. Appreciate you. Have a good night.